It was a crazy game of football, and I can't believe that we nearly won it all. But we were a lot closer than a lot of people think, and I'll talk about it in this episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome out to the Newcastle United Digest. My name is Adam Snyder, and I'm here to deliver you some Toon content in bite-sized chunks. And I am so excited to talk about the game on Wednesday against Liverpool and why I'm really excited about the game tomorrow, or today, if you're watching this on Saturday, against Brentford. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really do think so. And if you're new to the channel, welcome out. I am so happy that you're here. I launched this channel at the very beginning of this season. So if you are liking what you see, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe and share this with your friends in your group chats or in social media, wherever you see fit. I'm so thankful for any opportunity I can get to share my love and passion about Newcastle United to all of you. I'm so excited to give you some analysis from the game against Liverpool, as well as what to watch out for against Brentford on Saturday, so you can have a little bit more fun while watching it, and I can just go on Monday, told you so. All jokes aside, we watched an absolute belter of a match on Wednesday. A 3-3 draw against league-leading Liverpool on Wednesday. One of the announcers, I think it was from the BBC, they said that this game was 90 minutes of just nonstop highlights, and that is the best way to describe it. This was so far the best match of not just Newcastle season, but the entire Premier League season. And this could go down as one of those classic matches that people will be talking about for years and decades to come. But with a couple of tweaks, this really could have resulted in a match favoring Newcastle a little bit more. Yes, we can talk about the shot off the post by Jacob Murphy or his other two near misses, including the dink that went over the keeper and wide. We can also talk about Isak's near glorious free kick in the second half injury time, the scuffed Bruno shot in the first half, and the missed chances by Hall or Gordon. We could even point to the blown penalty and potential red card of Virgil van Dijk for his altercation with Anthony Gordon. And after watching the game and rewatching the highlights and basking in the glory of us coming back and actually getting a point out of this game, I did notice some things from this match. And I'll just dive into detail instead of just reciting all of them. So let's get started. First one was pressing the high line. Liverpool's defense got the best of them tonight. Their high line was under a lot of pressure in the first half, and Eddie's constant press was on full display. This is what we've seen Eddie do against a lot of top-tier teams, and it paid off again tonight. It almost as if these teams that are coming in against a team like Newcastle have this hubris of playing a high line as if they're going to just not have any pressure applied to it, and it backfires them on every single occasion. And it resulted in multiple opportunities with Isak, Gordon, Bruno, Murphy, and even Lewis Hall getting looks at goal. The high line was finally punished as Isak made Virgil van Dijk look like an absolute melt, getting a quick touch in before unleashing a rocket into the top of the net. That was an absolute thunder bastard, and I haven't seen a goal like that in a long time. It almost kind of reminded me of the goal that Obafemi Martin scored against Spurs a long time ago that you'll see in highlight reels. And the next one was the battle between Lewis Hall and Mo Salah. This was a very interesting one, and unfortunately, it did not turn out well for us. This was a battle throughout the entire game, and unfortunately, this is one that Hall ultimately lost. In the first half, it looked like Hall had the best of Salah and looked like he was going to do the same thing that he did to Bukayo Saka and put him in his back pocket. Unfortunately, that was short-lived, and the second half was a completely different story. All three goals that Liverpool scored came as a result of playing on Hall's side of the field. And there are variations to the same play almost. The first was an assist by Salah. That was the first blow. It was a giveaway on the left-hand side that was switched around to the right side. Salah did a good job of freezing Hall and found a streaking Jones. Tonali couldn't keep up with them, and Burton couldn't step in time to stop the shot, and ultimately it was a goal for Jones, and that brought the score to 1-1. The second goal was the result of not one, but two bad giveaways in the midfield. Jacob Murphy was tracking back and gifted a pass to Liverpool, who then tried to give it back to Joe Linton. Big Joe scuffed a ball through to Isak, and that's when things went south very, very quickly. At this time, Alexander-Arnold had come on as a sub, and when you add Alexander-Arnold to that right-hand side with Mo Salah, it's double trouble, and Lewis Hall just could not keep up with him. The goal that Salah scored was nearly a carbon copy of the one that Jones scored a few minutes ago, only this time it was Salah making the run and Trent Alexander-Arnold getting the assist. And the third one was really where Lewis Hall showed the pressure was getting to him. He conceded a very, very, very poor giveaway. It was just an awful clearance that went right to Liverpool's midfield. Curtis Jones retrieved the ball, worked it to the left side of the field. They overload the back post, and Trent Alexander-Arnold was the recipient of a ball from a Szoboszlai dummy. TAA found Salah with his back turned to goal. Salah made a brilliant turn one touch and rifled it into the bottom corner using Cher as a screen. It's hard to refute this, but Salah got the advantage. Hall may have won the first half battle, but Salah ultimately won the war. The other theme I take away from this game was Howe getting absolutely outcoached by Arne Slot. And I think that this was especially the case when it came to substitutions. Arne Slot had an absolute masterclass in subs that Eddie could learn something from, and Eddie just didn't have anything ready for him. Newcastle scored their second from a very well-worked play between Tonali, Bruno, Isak, and Gordon. Not long after that, Arne Slot brings on a triple sub, including Trent Alexander-Arnold. TAA has a history of destroying Newcastle and putting him on the same side of the pitch as Mo Salah, and you've got double trouble, and Hall really felt it. This should have raised some alarm bells in Eddie Howe's head, but it was too little too late. The only response he made was after the second Liverpool goal, but that was 6 minutes afterwards when he took off Jacob Murphy for Harvey Barnes. At this point, this should have been your time to make a triple sub. Instead of waiting until the 87th or 88th minute to make a triple sub when you can have little to no impact in a game as a sub, bring him on in the 74th minute when there's still a chance. When you subbed on Barnes for Murphy, this is the opportunity to bring on Willock for Joelinton, because Joelinton was completely outpaced on that side. Bring on Longstaff for Tonali, who was also outpaced on that side and it was evident on the Jones goal when he just got blasted past. And you do these things with 15 or 20 minutes of focus. You have more of an opportunity for Willock to make some defensive plays and then blast at the field on a counter. You also have the opportunity for Longstaff to stay focused for 15 or 20 minutes versus an entire game. And he can stick in defensively and do the job and help transition in midfield. Longstaff would have been a great defensive cog to shore things up. Murphy was punished for coughing up the ball, but Joelinton and Tonali should have been given the hook for the exact same reason on the exact same goal. And if it made sense, bring on Callum Wilson for a cameo in the 87th or 88th minute. There are two situations where it makes sense to do so. One of them, if we're somehow we turn this around where we're actually winning the game, you bring on Callum Wilson for his game management or his ability to hold up the play or hold the ball in the corner, or you bring him on and take off Gordon like he did as a last roll of the dice to get something like he did. But I really think that would have been an opportunity to win the game versus getting a point back. Criticism aside, I am so happy to say that the resilience in this side has returned. A lot of the season has been lacking the spirit of resilience we noticed very early on in the season. It showed up when we beat Southampton 1-0 after Cher was sent off, and the 1-1 draw against Man City, beating Spurs and Wolves with late goals. In Wednesday's match, we saw the attitude of never say die return to this side. And it's something that I truly admire in this team, and I admire in any team. We saw it a lot last season as well. Ultimately, it was a willingness to never roll over in this match that kept getting them back into it. Had the ref not blown his whistle so prematurely to end the game, we could have ended up winning this game 4-3 with the last kick of the game. I can't believe that we're saying this, but this is a winnable game, and it was because of the resilience. And with a little tweak from the coaching and the subs, we could have turned this around and won it. And the resilience and the success and the good vibes somewhat show up in the ratings this week. At goalkeeper, I'm going to give Nick Pope a 7 out of 10. Pope made some humongous saves, both in the first and second half. But it's hard to give a higher score when you concede 3 goals. They weren't his fault, but I can't give him higher than a 7 out of 10 for conceding 3 goals. Defense, unfortunately, I have to give a 6.5 out of 10. And a lot of this is because of the battle lost between Hall and Salah. Other defensive mishaps, including Byrne being overly aggressive on challenges outside the penalty area, nearly cost us one or two more goals as well. So it wasn't just Hall bringing the score down, it was everybody bringing it down. And at midfield, I'm going to give them a 7.5 out of 10. Offensively, this trio was absolutely fantastic, aiding the press and winning key battles against Liverpool's midfield. Bruno had the assist on Isak's goal, and he contributed in the run of play on Gordon's goal, which Isak got the assist for. However, a poor giveaway from Joe Linton and not tracking Salah and Tonali getting burned on the first goal, this 7.5 rating comes from the defensive side of the ball, not the offensive side. And the good vibes continue with the forwards. They get an 8.5 out of 10 for this game. You're probably wondering, 2 goals and assists from our forwards, and they're not getting a 10 out of 10 or at least a 9 or 9.5 out of 10? What gives? The drop points come from Murphy's missed chances and his giveaway in the second goal. Other than that, both Murphy and Gordon were excellent in the press, and they did track back well in winning key battles when they won some good battles in the middle of the park as well as the defensive end. On set pieces, I have to give them a 9 out of 10. Initially, I was going to give them a 10, but they nearly conceded on a corner in the first half. The set piece goal from Cher on that ball from Bruno, oh my gosh, what an absolute belter of a finish. I didn't think he was going to get to it. And when it went in, I was absolutely floored that he got to it. Overall, this game is a 7.6 out of 10 for me. There was plenty to be happy about after that prematurely blown full-time whistle, but it was not a top-notch performance against other top teams we've played against this season. I hope the second half resilience on display is something that we can see more of when the lads head to Brentford on Saturday. Normally, this is the end of the episode where I just talk about the game and then that's it. But I think that with the scheduling and the quick turnaround, I think for me, it's going to be a double episode where I'm going to also talk about the game against Brentford on Saturday. And these are the 5 things that I want you to be looking out for while you're watching this game, because I think it's going to be fun for you. And I think it's going to be fun for us to exploit. And if we can do this, we're going to take 3 points. The first one is target Ethan Pinnock. The Jamaican international could be seen as a prime target for our midfield and forwards. If Bruno and Isak can light up somebody like Virgil van Dijk for a goal, imagine what they can do against somebody who isn't as skilled as him, and far from it. This is going to be fun. The other thing to look out for is their ability to counter. Brentford love to counter. And we have to be on our toes to make sure that it does not happen against us. And if they do, we have to be ready for it. One of the things that I noticed, especially against Leicester, is that they kept backing up and backing up and backing up, and doing exactly what you aren't supposed to do when defending a counter. It gives Brentford the opportunity to find more opportunities to exploit you and find more holes and find a seam. One of the things that I've been critical of people like Dan Byrne is to not be too aggressive on plays like this, but I think you can learn something from Fabian Schär, because I think his diffusing of counters and his timing is spot on most of the time. So I think this will be an opportunity for Dan Byrne to get a lesson in diffusing counters or not give them up. And the next thing I want to see them do is apply some pressure to the back 4. They have coughed up some very, very embarrassing balls that led to goals or really, really, really easy scoring chances that were squandered. The one against Villa where Ollie Watkins blew it, and then the other one against Bournemouth where they didn't blow it. They really showed that Brentford have some communication issues, or their willingness to adapt to some pressure. I don't know what it is, but when you give balls like that, you can't be expected to win games too often when you do that. So if we can apply some pressure and force them to do it, be alert when it happens, they could get us some pretty easy goals in this game. And the next thing to look out for on the Brentford side of the ball is their ability to bomb in some throw-ins. Jensen has a long throw that they treat like a free kick or a corner kick whenever they get into the offensive third. And it's something that they did capitalize on when they scored a goal against Bournemouth. And what they did is they created a lot of confusion in the box, got a flick on And then the second ball was where the goal came from. In my perspective, the key to defending these will be to win that first ball and don't let the ball bounce around in the penalty area. Just head it away and get it out of there and relieve the pressure and avoid the confusion that comes from these long throw-ins. And my last key is the quickness of our set pieces. One of the goals that Bournemouth scored against them was a very quick corner kick. They made one or two quick passes, and then they found a seam where they had a player streaking in, heading towards the end line. They cut it back across the penalty area, and somebody was there for an easy tap in. And the first thing I thought of was, hey, this looks like the goal that we scored where Gahey conceded. All I could think of was, hey, this looks like the Gahey own goal against Palace. And you'd be right, because it was almost a carbon copy of it with a couple of extra passes to get into the penalty area from the corner arc. If we can do that against them on a free kick or even off a corner kick like they did, we can find those same seams and catch them off guard and get a quick goal. I think we can do this, and it could be a goal off a corner. Something we haven't done a whole lot this season. I'd like to see it. And that will do it for this episode of the Newcastle United Digest. I hope that this was an enjoyable episode for you. I was really excited to discuss both of these matches, and I really hope that you're just as excited as I am to watch this match on Saturday. So whether you're at home, you're at the pub, you're at the match, if you're lucky enough to do so, enjoy yourselves, have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on the Newcastle United Digest.